Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm continuing using you as guinea pigs here in BISS 4403. As you know, and as I've explained to you, we're trying to use a technology called Zoom. In fact, let me kind of adjust this just a hair. There we go. You can tell I'm at home, probably like many of you are. And of course, I'm working on things for class. This is one of them. Again, I thank you so much for taking the time to come over and take a look at these videos. As I've mentioned, look at those hands. We're going to be using snippets of this 25, 30 minutes at a pop because it takes 2 to 3 times as much time to save the recording as it does to make it. Now, again, we're continuing on with chapter 10 and the Patrick text, working those cases. In fact, we were going to do 10, 11, and 12, if I'm not mistaken. And again, don't worry about the points and all that. You know, we didn't meet last Thursday night. We're okay with that. Don't get all hepped up about that, okay? I just want you to log in at some point this week. We're gonna, as you could probably tell, I've got the book open here. Isn't that beautiful camera work? And here over in chapter 10, and I had stopped, if I'm not mistaken, at 10, problem 10 number 3, or task 10.3. And so we're going to go ahead and do some more work with it. Now remember, we're continuing to work with row functions, and we had worked with 10.3 and done task 1. Now there in at 10.3, and this of course is the Patrick text at page 368. And as you can see, and you should have the SQL file open as usual. You ought to have the Patrick files open to chapter 10, so you have the text files open. And there on page 368, you ought to have your textbook as well. All this stuff I ask you to do, I know, it's killing you. Page 368, and there at the access style replacement value is the text, in which if there's a null value, we replace it with that hard code. And that was task number 3. Now, over on page 369, the authors talk about using a function to change the data types. And this is, we're going to take a look at task 10.4. That's in the middle of page 370. And what he's going to do is ask it to show the effects of a data conversion. And what you're going to find is that in access, as I mentioned before, the addition is incorrect. Okay, and what it does, unless you declare those numbers, if you have the data saved as numbers, it treats them as numbers. If it doesn't, it takes numbers and treats them like text. So it basically concatenates them. And so what he shows you there on page 370 is the Oracle result, and then he shows you the SQL result in which the addition is incorrect. So if you look at the bottom of page 370, you're going to see that they give you the primary key is 8, the text number 1 is 8, the primary key is A, excuse me, the text 1 is 8, text number 2, text in column 2 is B, and then when it says add them, rather than getting 12 like you do with Oracle, which just treats numbers and handles the formatting of them much better, you get an 84 when you should get a 12. The subtraction works, the multiplication works, the division works, but addition just doesn't work because it wants to concatenate it. So there at the top of page 371, this is in task 4. He shows us using the cint, that's converting them to integers, and we're going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here for a moment. Share my desktop. And you'll notice here is 10.4, and let's scroll down here. And here's what he's talking about where we make the correction. Click that off for a sec. And you can see that it says select the primary key, pretty simple, text 1, text 2, And then we have the cent, which cent is converts those to integers. So it converts what is in text 1, that column. Then whatever is in column 2, text 2, the column name text 2, is converted to a cent. Okay, I'm writing this line. So we're going to convert this text to an integer. We're going to convert the text in this column to an integer, and this lets us add them. Okay, and then here we're going to take text 1 minus text 2 as a text, subtract text 2. So that'll work just fine. So we're going to go ahead and copy all this code right here. This is the 10-4 access correction. Okay, and let me move myself around a little bit here at the desk. I'm going to copy and control. And then I'll open up SQL Fun. Where's that at? There it is. Look at that. There's Cardinal Buddy. As you can see, Cardinal Buddy is obviously there in the Grand Tetons having a fantastic, fantastic time. All right, I'm going to open this up and we'll click Create. And we'll, of course, go to Query Design. Again, this is just one of these exercises where we use row functions and we convert data in different formats. Now, I want to take a minute and just say this. Okay, look, let's just run the query. Okay, here it is. Here's the result set. Now, as you can see, it did what it's supposed to do. It added the text in this case, and we're going to say this is 10-4. And let me say this. This is great for reformatting numbers. Typically what's happening is you're coming back and you're making up for somebody's mistake. Someone's messed up. And the truth is, if you design the table correctly, you're not going to have to worry about this. So, yeah, hey, that's life. So we'll save that, and then that's going to be 10-4. Okay. And let's get this down to where we can work with it a little bit. I'll scroll that over and we'll close that. So we have 10-4. Now I'm going to continue on here and let's just go back to our text file, the access text, and you'll notice we go all the way down to 10-8. Now what's going to happen here is in 10-5, this is page 373 in the text, begins to walk you through Oracle using Oracle documentation. And if there are any of you who decide to do the Oracle option in one of your projects, and you go, what major project? Go down and look in Moodle and it will explain that to you. Go look at the syllabus, and there's also a blurb that explains when it's due, what you got to do, etc. To make a long story short, there's that text from page 370. 374 and 375, as mentioned before, uses the expression builder. And then 10-8 is to create a unique pattern of numbers. Okay. And they have you do, at the top of page 378, they have you, first of all, select an N, and then use that table of constants, and that table of constants, not consonants, I know, constants, is from, use it 3 times that, and what you get is a beginning table 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 99, and then you get the result tables, the bottom page 378, and that's all those numbers times 3. Amazing. And let's just go ahead and look at it. And this is this is step 2. Now, what they assume here in step 2 is that you've created a view called. So we're going to do this step 1. Okay. I'll go back up here and we'll click Create. Query Design. Close this off. We get to the SQL view. And we're going to run the query. And then they want us to save it, and they give us a name. Save it as SEC. Okay, it's going to be SEC 1008, then underscore view, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Okay. And you can see we've got the multiples. And the code there was to take 3 and times as a multiple of 3 from the numbers 0 to 99. Now, if you say, well, all right, let's see if it's actually correct. Let's go back into the design view on this puppy. And if you come over here to the first table, table N, we'll put that in ascending order. And there it is. And we'll save that. Now, before, go ahead and save this. Now, remember, I've mentioned several times that sometimes it's often it's easier to go ahead and to save the data. Pardon me, it's easier to work in design view than it is to work exclusively in SQL view, or vice versa. And the chances are of you writing code, you know, I don't know. If you work for a very small company and they ask you to develop a database for yourself or whatever, you know how to do that. You will know how to do that, or maybe work at there's the chances are you'll be working as an end user. Okay, so you won't struggle with a lot of this stuff, or at least if you do have problems with formatting, etc., you'll be able to have an intelligent conversation with your data manager. But in this case, notice, you know, we went back into design view, and we also worked at the SQL view. And when you get some of the problems I'm going to give you at the end of the semester to work, that's going to be the case. You're going to sometimes work the design view, sometimes it'll be easier to work at the SQL view. So we've got this SEC 10 view, and we'll just save that, and then we're going to close it. Then we're going to go back to the text file, and you'll see 10.8 step 2. And here we're going to select a multiple of 3 of numbers between 50 and 250. So we'll copy that text. We'll go back to SQL Fund. And the usual series of steps. We'll go down to the SQL view. Paste in our code, we'll run it. And there it is. Multiples, 51, 54. And remember, let's go back into the SQL view. We wanted to select, and you can see it easier if I pull this up. Select a multiple of 3 from that SEC 10008 view, where the multiple of 3 is between 50 and 250. So they're going to take the multiple. That's why we started with 51, and order it by a multiple of 3. And that's why we get this business here of 51, 54, 57. You notice we scroll all the way down, and we'll stop at 249. Now, you know, you say, well, okay, this is wonderful. I get to use the table of constants and, yeah, do some multiplication, use a row function, basically. And the truth is, what we've just done is mimicked probably what would happen in a more user-friendly way if you were asked to choose a set of orders. It really, literally, what we've done is we've done a filter. We just created a set. That was step 1, and then we create filters. So we're going to call this 10.8. And I'm going to call it 10.8 step 2. And we'll save it. Okay? Now, page 379 in the Patrick text, and I would encourage you to go there, it walks us through a series of steps of using row functions to create patterns of numbers and dates. And if you look there at page 380, you're going to see the Access SQL. Here we're going to select n as a prime number from the numbers, that's that table of constants, 0 to 99, where n is less than 10, and not, and we're going to use the and not function. The in mode 2, we're divided by 2 equals 0, and not in mode 3 is 0, and not, that's the mode again. 5 is 0, and then 7 is 0. On page 379, if you take a look, will give you a discussion on the mod or mode. I mean, forget how to pronounce it exactly, on that function and how it works. Again, this is just going to create a complex set of numbers. And so let's go into 10.9 and just do this anyway. And we can close off 10.8 step 2. So we'll close it off. Again, this is just to show us that we can create complex patterns of numbers. Now, you know, it's also to show us row functions. And, you know, you never know if you'd ever use this or not, but it is good. It's good to know that they can generate. Now, in addition, all right, and we'll run this. And we'll save this as 10.9. Okay. If we wanted to, we could create account numbers. We could create, well, we could try to recreate a pattern of numbers. Frankly, it's, you know, in some ways, as you can hear, I'm kind of struggling with, you know, what's the really practical use of some of this? And some of it is, you know, I don't know. Maybe if you're working in math or science, you know, but the point is that the authors want to show us the mode or the mod function. That is where you divide a prime a number, and then you take the difference. And they explain that there on page 379. Okay, and then walk you through the beginning table and then the prime number that's created because of it. Now, over on page 381, the authors have us create at the bottom page 381 a set of constants. And this is 10.10 step A in the code. And I can just explain this to you. Here's step 1, create a table. We're going to create a table, okay? And this has 2 fields in it, the beginning date and the date. It has 1 field, pardon me, the beginning date with the date time. That's the date time is the function. So you're going to create that table of constants. Then the next step is he has you insert a value, and that value is the 24th of February 2010. You can see it's in the pound signs. And again, then he wants you to see the table, and obviously you select everything, and then create a view containing 7 dates. And this is to build a little calendar, and let's just go ahead and, well, let's just do it. It's a lot of work, you know, frankly, but again, he wants to show you row functions, and so we're just going to, you know, what you'll do is you'll run the table. Now, if you go to page 382, you're going to see the steps, and page 383. So watch what happens, and go to your textbook, take a look at the middle of page 382. You're going to see it. I do this just for purposes of time. I think select C date, okay, and that means you're going to format the date, beginning date plus the digit is days. So you're going to give it a column alias, call it days, okay. And then from the numbers table, that's the constants, and you're going to get the SEC 1010 constants where the digit's less than 7. Now that SEC 1010 constants table is the one you create at the bottom of page 381. Okay, and as a result, you end up with a set of days going from the 24th of February to the 2nd of March. Now, and then step 3 at the top of page 383, he gives you, he has you use the function, format function, which is just a killer. I've said it before, avoided it at all costs. But it calculates the days and requires an abbreviation, returns an abbreviation abbreviated date, and a full day. And again, that's that format function that isn't supported. So the top of page 33, that step 3 is just of no use. Over on page 34, again, he talks about creating calendars. Again, what we're doing is we are taking dates, formatting them as text, and then turn around and format and then use them like numbers to create calendars. And you can see at the bottom of page 34, he gets that starting date. And then page 385, he gives you a table containing all consecutive days. Okay. He doesn't include a sort there, so you could use the GUI if you wanted to get them in a order that makes sense to you. So he's having this process here. This is like the bottom page 34. I create a table of constants. Okay. Then I insert a value in it. Okay. And then at the top of page 35, I use row functions and formatting functions. That's the CDate, convert that to a date. And then the row function is that layered in page 35. That the very last bit of code I'll show you here on the text file. And this is step 1011. You see, where are the row functions happening? Here's the row function. Right here. What we've done is we created the table of constants, okay? Then we put data into it. Then we use the row function, okay, to insert data into it on a rolling basis using the row function. That's all that's happening there. I'm looking through the rest of chapter 10, and here he you've created it. Has you have created this calendar. And again, using the format function, which is just an absolute killer. So skip 3 to 6, 3 to 7. And then over on page 389, he gives a little thing to find how many days old you are. That goes to 390, some cute stuff. The day you'll be 10,000 days old. Again, using some row functions. Now, on page 392, and this is 1014. So let's open up your text file. Oh, whoops, excuse me, I had the text file open. And you can see we're going to create a view that includes an order by clause. You say, okay, we're going to select the price and description from the section 1014 table from L Foods. Okay, we're going to select price description into the section 1014 table, and we're going to get that from the L Foods table where the price is less than $1.75, and we're going to order by price and description. Okay, and so in this case we use the order by clause, and there's the order by clause at the very end. Then we see the view. Then we use the select asterisk that lets us see everything in view. Then 1014 step 2, we use row num to create the line numbers. Okay, and we're going to alter the table. We're going to add column line number counter. We're going to select, and then 1015, he has a step to calculate the value of the function. 1014, we add the column number counter. And there we've added a column of line numbers that gives us that result table with line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you say, wouldn't this be a lot easier to just go into the GUI, create the table, and put in auto number, and be done with it? Yes, it would. And here's the value of this course. Even though you may not ever physically go into your company's database, okay, and create the table, you know enough now to sit down and do an entity relationship diagram where I take a, let me go for a minute and let me go to, see if I can, well, I'm going to do an experiment here. And I'm going to do see if I can do the whiteboard for a minute. I've been forgetting to spotlight my mouse, so I got to turn that on. There's that. Ah, isn't that cool? Got to do that. Now, let's see if I can go to the whiteboard. And I'm going to stop the share for a second. And let's see if I can find the little whiteboard. And I'll just click this screen share. And yeah, there's a whiteboard. Boom. Okay. Now I'm going to draw on the whiteboard. I appreciate I'm experimenting. You say, what do you mean an entity relationship diagram? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to come here. Messing this up for sure. And then I'm going to grab that eraser. I'm going to draw a square. And that's what I should. And I apologize. And then I'll put some text. I'll get another line here, excuse me. And as you recall, I'm going to put, I'll make it click the text. I'm putting it like, and then, and I'll scale this down a little bit. As you can tell, I'm learning here. But I would basically, not screw it up like this, but I'm basically going to go ahead and put in, let me just back out of this. Let's see if this will let me do what I want to do. Whiteboard. And I want to draw. And then I'm going to draw again. As you recall, I'm going to put the primary key here, pardon me, the name of the table here, and then I'm going to list the fields down here, and then I would indicate with a PK primary key and FK a foreign key. And so I could sit down, and you could sit down with a administrator and have an intelligent conversation. Now, I'm going to stop this share. And I'm going to go back and do a share screen, and I'm going to do the desktop. I appreciate you bearing with me in terms of that really clumsy deal. I'm going to exit the full screen. And here we are. I share the screen. There we go. Now you say, well, just be more clear about what you meant. Well, let's click on Database Tools. And then let's look at the relationships. And you'll see, let's look at the employees. And when you say an entity relationship diagram, this is exactly what's depicted here in the relationships area. And you can see it's got the table name, and then below it, the fields. And then if it has a primary key, here it indicates that. Now, if you were giving this to your data administrator, say, here's the name of the table I want, and here would be my suggestions for the primary key, and you'd want an auto number or something like that, or take their suggestion, then you would also indicate, I think these would be foreign keys if you know the other tables. Now, your administrator may come back and have to say, look, I'm going to have to add these foreign keys in to link the tables up, and that's okay if they have access to the full range of tables and know more about it than you do. Got it? I thought so. And so we'll close that off. Now, I'm going to take and I'm going to stop the share here for just a minute. I want to take a little bit more time. Let me go to the full screen and take some more time to finish off chapter 10. Okay? And chapter 10 really ends up with you doing, again, some beginning tables, generating some numbers with some precision. I think I might have even talked about this before, messed around with this before. But again, just using the row function. For example, on page 395, you'll see select in 90 plus, this is access SQL stop 2. And you'll see that in the textbook. You say, oh, I can't. You'll have your textbook open, okay? I do have mine, so bring yours, sit down, take a look. You got to if you really want to understand what's going on here. You're going to generate the numbers between 90 and 90.99. You can, and then it has it divide. You have select in, then 90 plus n divided by 10 as m. So you're going to have you're using a column alias, and you're going to call it column m. And you're going to get that from that table of constants, 099. You're going to order it by n. Now, if you want greater precision, you could say n divided by 1,000, n divided by 10,000, whatever works. Okay? The whole point is it's a row function, and you're doing multiplication. We've done division, multiplication, addition. We've used the mod function. We've identified prime numbers. There's a lot we can do with the row functions, and the whole idea is that, the author is trying to show us that we can do mathematical computations of records of the data. And remember, a row is a record. It's a combination of fields. And then there, he has you calculate the value of the function between 90 and 0.99. You show the beginning table, the end table on page 396. And that, my friends, pretty much wraps up chapter 10. Now, on the next video, we're going to take a look at chapter 11, and we'll see what that's all about. Again, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you taking a chance. And of course, obviously, you can video. This is like a video. You can fast forward all the way through it, so you don't even have to listen to me if you don't want to. But don't worry about getting credit for the 10, 11, 12. Where we were supposed to do last Thursday, the Thursday before. Don't get all hyped up about that, okay? I appreciate your help with this, and it gives me easier to broadcast you, etc. And it gives you a chance to see me in my home habitat here, and maybe I'll do some more videos. But I'm here at my home office, as you can see behind me. This door right here, that, my friends, is a safe room. So when a bad tornado comes, I can take my wife and my mother-in-law's over here and the pet and go in and be safe and so forth. Isn't that wonderful? Of course, if it's an F5, I'm not sure it'll be left standing, but we'll see. They said it's a good one. That has nothing to do with this course. I know that. But since when have I ever stuck to topic? And I wore my hoodie today in honor of Mark Zuckerberg. What more could I do to make this an entertaining, wonderful time? All right, my friends, thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video. And of course, I will see you next Thursday night when we resume class.